let me just tell you guys, like, and thank you for showing up. We are kind of recommitting to doing not we're kind of, we have a handful of new agents right now, maybe like 10-ish or so. And we really wanted to recommit to regularly offering our kind of core skills training so that you guys could really kind of hit the ground running and have your questions answered in advance of actually having to like learn them on a deal. So the core skills training is 20 classes, and I'll send you an email that kind of says what they are. We're always going to do them on Tuesdays and Fridays at 9. Gage, I think you've probably been to a handful of them already. But I'm glad that you're here and you can just pick up on the ones that you haven't been to.
Yeah, it's been a long while, but I think
Yeah.
I've been out of like 20 or something like that, give or take. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, and
But
it's also like if you get started and you don't have any context and you take the class, that's one thing. And then once you've like done a couple deals and you come back and revisit the class, we've had people say like, yeah, that's helpful because now I have some context for how the like contract really works or what this is really, what the title commitment really says. So that's our plan, is to go through these classes. And the first ones, like I'm starting with today with building your business, which is we built this class because an agent was kind of like, what should I be doing to like get going? Like they're onboarded, they've got all their stuff, but they like don't have any business yet. So it's like, okay, well, let's just talk about like how you can have a plan that you can work on so that you are being proactive and can like generate your business, generate some business for yourself. So that's this first class. And then on Friday, we're going to do a managing your business class, which is more like how to, since you're just getting started in real estate, how to like set up, your finances and like the right way to keep expenses and just kind of running your business like a business person. When a lot of us are transitioning from other jobs or employment or whatever, it's kind of like, okay, well, this is our own deal now. So how do we set ourselves up so that when like tax time comes, we don't hate ourselves, right? So that's what Friday's class is. And it's not very long, but it just goes through some like tips to get started. So any questions? No? Okay. All right. So what we're going to talk about today is kind of building your business, like I said, and the object. Are you guys looking at the screen, the actual presenting screen?
yes, it says building your business.
Okay, perfect. That's not my like presenter view. Okay, perfect. I got to click through. Okay, so what are our objectives for today? One is to kind of give you the foundation to build a plan that you can execute, so that you like know what you should be doing every day to like be busy and get yourself busy, right? So you're not like kind of floundering around. And then answer the question like, what am I really supposed to be doing right now to get some deals? And that was like a question that an agent asked, which is why we kind of came up with this class. And you guys have both been in the business kind of for a while. So if you have things to share that would be helpful for others to hear, like, please do. So I'm going to go quick. If you have questions, stop me. But these are kind of the 3 main steps. Is first, you've got to like set some goals and make a plan. Because if you just kind of are like, okay, I'm in real estate now, and you're kind of showing up and doing the things you do, that's good. But really, you need to like know where you want to get to and like be clear about defining your goal. So we're going to work on that a little bit. And then once you have done that, you want to create kind of a marketing strategy and a plan for yourself so that you can kind of execute it consistently. There's a whole other class called like building a marketing plan on any budget, which we will be offering soon. But this is just something that you need to have so that you know what you should be doing. It's a lot easier to market consistently if you have like a plan versus like, what should I do today, right? Like it's easy if you just lay out a plan for yourself, then all you have to do is execute. And then, the third one is kind of managing your time. Like I said, I mean, in real estate, our schedules are flexible. So it's like, how do I really set myself up for success with like good habits? So those are the kind of the 3 steps we're going to talk about. Anyone have any questions or anything to add? No? Okay. All right. So the first little tidbit I would say is to kind of like know, why are you here, right? It's like, okay, well, I got myself into real estate. It's like, what is really my purpose here? Like I got to pay the bills. Like I'm the breadwinner. I want to buy a nicer house. I want to go on trips for my family. I want to pay for school. I want to take care of my parents, like whatever it is, like know why you're doing this and think about like, what is, it's a lot easier to be motivated if you know like the reason and what you're trying to achieve. I don't know if you guys have heard the Simon Sinek, like Start With Why TED Talk, but it's so good. So I'll send it to you. And he's kind of like, you have to know your purpose before you start working on like the steps. And I will say, like, this business can be really hard and everyone has a different why, but you need to know what your why is to keep you going, because sometimes it can be tough. So the importance of goal setting. You guys, if you've been in class with me before, you may have seen this slide already, but I love this study. Basically, a psychologist in California did a study of 270 people in a work environment, and she divided them into 5 groups. And she said, to the first group, just think about your goals. The second group, she said, write your goals down. The third group, she said, just write the steps that you're going to take down and work over the next 4 weeks. The fourth group, she said, write your goals down and tell a friend at work. And then the fifth group, she said, write your goals down, tell a friend at work. And then every week you and that friend are going to check in and report back how you did. And you can see, the group that was, wrote their goals down, shared them with a friend, and then we're doing the weekly progress reports, completed 76% of their goals, compared to the people that didn't write them down, only achieved 43%. She circled back after the end of 4 weeks and kind of checked in with them on how they actually did. So it will dramatically help you to write down your goals and then check in regularly. And this little group here can become an accountability group. Hopefully we're going to grow in number. I think we're just getting started and people don't realize what we're doing, but it's a nice way to have an accountability group to check in with, is this group right here, this core skills group. So I just wanted to share that with you. I know, Caroline, you're doing our guaranteed goals right now, which hopefully is helpful for you, but we do like built-in check-ins, which is nice to have some accountability. So, okay. Importance of goal setting. You won't arrive at your destination if you don't know exactly where you want to go, which I think is true. And I didn't really learn this stuff until like the past few years. So for me, it's been like a huge life changer. And now I really focus on it. So as a new agent, like, you can think of what you want your goals to be. Is there a certain amount of money that you want to make? Is there a certain number of deals you want to do? Do you want to get your database to a certain size? Do you have like debt you want to pay off? Do you want to finish your SAE before your license renews? Like, do you want to be able to buy this trip for your family? Like, just think about what your goal would be. We hope at Briggs Freeman that our agents are doing at least $5 million in sales and closing at least, 7 to 10 transactions. But obviously at the beginning, you're not there yet, which is totally fine. But what kind of goals can you set yourself? Like I said, it's just even once you write something down and put your energy towards it, I think you're more likely to achieve it. Not, I think, I know. So I'm encouraging you guys to do that here. And if you ever want to do any of this stuff one-on-one, just let me know. So think about what your goals might be. These are just suggestions, and then kind of write them down and put them on a sticky, or just look at them every so often. It's almost the end of Q1. So we have like 3 quarters left in the year, and you might have like Q2 goals and Q3 goals and Q4 goals and like year-end goals, but it just helps to know where you want to get to. You're much more intentional that way. Okay. So what do I need to do to reach these goals? You need a plan, right? So these are the steps to the plan that we're going to walk through today. And the first one as a new agent is to build and maintain a database. So do you guys have a database right now, or how do you keep it? I keep mine. I just scrubbed mine. Actually, I keep mine in ReChat, which I can always download into Excel if I ever want to like move it somewhere else, but I keep everything in ReChat and then tag people. And I have very basic tags, but that's what I'm actually going to use. So what do you do, Caroline?
I just put together my database and shared it with Jenny to send out the welcome to Briggs Freeman cards. So I am thinking that I need to upload it into ReChat, and I have definitely not taken advantage of how robust ReChat is and all that it has to offer. Yes. And I'm doing my deals through Mike's ReChat. And so anyway, that is going to be one of, I think what's been hard for me this year is setting quantifiable goals, because I'm still kind of sorting through figuring out what it is that I actually need. And then once I figure that out, I can figure out the steps that I need to take to get there. But then also I feel like I'm flying by the seat of my pants and just answering calls as they come and just trying to get like organized and then also being available to like jump when needed.
Yeah.
It's been a process of figuring that out. So anyway, I have it all in Excel. I need to get it uploaded into ReChat, and I also need to start like coming up with a plan to consistently be touching base with my database.
Mhm.
Because I was actually pleasantly surprised by, I kind of sometimes feel like, you know, I don't know that I have that many friends or know that many people, but I threw the database together and I was like, okay, I know more people than I thought.
Good, good, good. Well, that, I mean, the hardest part is just getting started. But that's a really good like Q2 goal would be to like get your database into ReChat, right? I mean, and it's not that hard once you do it, and you can even tag them like in this Excel file, so that when you upload it, they're already tagged, which is really nice.
Yeah, it's really organized in Excel. I love Excel.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
it's like
That
it,
helps a ton.
it is well organized. I just need to actually do something with it because it's sitting
Yeah.
on my desktop is not
Yes,
valuable
that's
to
good.
anyone.
Well, we have lots of good ReChat training, and they're actually they're starting like a 4-week series of ReChat training. So I would encourage you guys to go and just watch them, because if you can become a ReChat power user, you're going to be way ahead of the game, because there's so much in there, right? I mean, it's not just deals, it's marketing, it's database management. There's a CRM component. You can set people up on flows, which I haven't even done yet. Like there's so many levels of it. So I would encourage you to like go to those trainings. We send out a lot of marketing about them. But yeah, so building your database is kind of the first piece. And it sounds like Caroline's is already in Excel. If anyone needs this, I can send you this, but this is what I had in there: first name, last name, email, and ReChat is really smart. When you upload it, it kind of recognizes your headers, and you don't have to have it in specifically this format, but then, these are the different tags, that I might use. And really for me, for ReChat, I'm not doing a bunch of postcards. So I really just want people's emails and their tags, but it's, again, databases are garbage in, garbage out, right? So the better job you do, the more robust your database will be. It does not need to be perfect. I think that's important. So one piece that this is a really great exercise. It's called the Ninja hot and warm list exercise. Have you guys ever done this or heard of it? No. Okay. So I'm writing myself a note to send this to you. So basically, if you don't, you should keep a hot and a warm list. And this sounds so dumb and so basic, but it's so important. And you will definitely have the experience, if you don't, where you thought you were working with someone and then you run into them like 2 months later and they're like, oh, we bought a house. And you're like, what? So keeping a hot list and a warm list is important. The hot list is the list of all of the people that want to buy or sell in the next 90 days. And, you can keep this in ReChat. They have a way to do it. You can also just keep it honest. I have a very, very top producer who keeps two stickies that she puts on the outside of her laptop, because she's obviously looking at her laptop every day. And the hot list are the people that she's actively working with. And the warm list is people who want to buy or sell, but don't necessarily know that or aren't actively looking. And that sounds kind of weird. Like, how would they not know? But Ninja has an exercise you can do where you can go through everyone in your database and ask 16 questions about them and give them like a check mark. And if they have like 5 or 6 or 7 check marks, you're like, okay, this person actually is in a situation where their like life is changing and they might need to move. And so you can start dripping on those people, or send them a real estate review, or just call and check in, or make sure that they're getting your marketing emails, because you want to be front and center for them. And I'll send you the hot and warm list exercise. I will tell you, like, I don't think people do it that often, but every time I talk about it with agents and one of them doesn't, and they come back and they'll be like, I got a listing, or like, I got a buyer. So it's a great way for you to start with a hot and a warm list of like prospects. So I'll send it to you. I mean, depending on the size of your database, it would probably take like an hour or 2 to do. And I think it's really, really valuable if you like want a list of prospects, right? If you don't already have that. So the next step is to look at which business activities make sense for you, right? Oh, well, this is, no, business sources. So these are business sources. You know, in your database, you can always be adding people. It's really easy to add people in ReChat on your phone. I just reworked my whole database, like watching TV on my phone at night, which was awesome because the ReChat app for contacts is really great. But just think of everywhere you go are business sources. Like I got a bunch of business from my gym, and it wasn't like I was like talking about real estate all the time, but they saw me showing up at 5 a.m. in the morning, right? Working hard. They would see me in magazines, like occasionally would validate. And then they would like reach out to me and like ask me questions. So I got a lot of business from my gym. I know people get lots of businesses from like the dog park or, you know, kids' friends or church groups or, you know, your trivia club or whatever, like whatever you go and you're doing, like this is your sphere. So just make sure you know what you're talking about and you're presenting professionally, and that you're disciplined about when you meet someone, putting them in your database and tagging them properly. But all of these things can be like business sources, right? You just have to think of them that way. That's the challenge of what we do, is kind of like being knowledgeable, which we're going to talk about. So the next one is figure out which business activities make sense for you, right? Like Caroline's talking about how she's kind of like all over the place because you have actual people that you're helping and work to do right now, but you're also trying to like build your business, which is a tough place to be. But you know, figure out which business activities make sense for you. And again, in real estate, what's tricky is that there's, you know, business activities and their marketing activities, and they kind of overlap, right? Because like I said, like you may be taking your dog to the dog park, which is something you have to do, but also like there's business opportunities there. Or, so, you know, this is a list of business activities that may work for you. If it's making phone calls or hosting dinners or doing real estate reviews or, things like that. And then there's also actual marketing activities. And again, when you're just getting started, you may not have like a budget to do marketing, but, the way that I classify marketing activities versus business activities is that marketing activities are things that you would work with our marketing department to do, or with one of our marketing tools, like doing a CMA or doing a real estate review, or doing an actual postcard campaign, or, you know, doing an ad, like things like that are marketing activities. And business activities, you still need a budget for your business activities in addition to your marketing activities, but it might be like taking people to lunch or coffees or things like that. So this is just really, I don't want you guys to be overwhelmed, but it's just to get your juices flowing of like, what are some things I can be doing to like generate more leads, in addition to like, you know, the hot and warm list exercise. Okay, so then the next one is kind of learn the market and become a real estate expert. This one is super, super important because as you're out and about, like doing all of those business activities or going to the gym or playing trivia or walking your dog or whatever it is, going to church, people need to see you as like a real estate expert. And we can fake it a little bit, but also like we really do need to learn the market and become a real estate expert. And part of that is going to be touring and seeing what's out there and studying comps and hot sheets. And the other part of that is going to be like coming to these classes and exposing yourself to other agents around you who are so good. So this is an important one. And you're going to get asked when people find out you work in real estate. I'm sure this happens to you all the time. Raise your hand if people ask you like, how's the market? Right? So then the question is like, what's a good answer? So a bad answer is like, oh, it's so busy, or like, oh, it's slow, or, you know, I'm not sure, it's doing good. Like, and all of those aren't great because you're kind of like shutting the conversation down, right? And you're not really sharing. That's an opportunity for you to show that you know what you're doing. So these are better answers, right? You know, when people are like, how's the market? You can say, you know, this year has been so busy. I wrote this last fall. Spring was wild, but it's slowing down a little bit more and longer days on market. And then you can, you know, just have some answer that's like somewhat sophisticated, that's not over their head, right? I mean, I think you could say right now, like, you know, inventory is really tight. And I think there's a lot of people on the sellers sitting on the sidelines because of interest rates. But you could say like the buyer demand out there is crazy. And I think spring is going to be really busy. Or another good one is to ask them, you know, specifically what part of the market are you wondering about? And then they'll be like, oh, well, I live in Aledo and I've noticed there's no signs in my yard. I live in Aledo and I hear that everything's selling off market or whatever, right? You can ask them to like clarify, like what specifically are they looking for? Because then that will give you more information on how to answer them. And another one is just like, what are you hearing? That's kind of a good ninja question, because usually when people ask, there's a piece of information they're seeking. And if you ask them to clarify, it'll help you. And if you don't know the answer, I wouldn't make it up or fake it and be like, oh, that's interesting, I hadn't heard that. Like, let me find out. And then go find the answer and just circle back to them, give them a call or whatever. So that's learning the market. And I think for you guys, it's touring, it's coming to Coffee and Connect and just hearing what other agents are talking about. I mean, the beauty of touring when someone has something open is that when it closes, like you have that comp in your brain, right? And you know the market a little bit, which is important. Okay. Does anyone have questions? No, I'm kind of breezing through this. I don't want to take up a ton of your time, but this is an important one. Create a marketing plan. And you can do this on any budget, especially at Briggs Freeman, because we have so many tools for you. And it does not have to be excessive. Like right now, like one of my goals for this year is to make more referrals, because I have like really wide circles, obviously, and lots of friends. I'm old, so I have lots of friends along the way. But I was like, it's silly that I don't make more real estate referrals than I do, because people ask my opinion about real estate. So I just need to be a little bit more intentional about putting myself out there that like I work for Sotheby's and I can connect you to like the best person in any market here in DFW or wherever. And so I'm trying to be really intentional about posting something personal and something work related every week on social media, just to keep people how people associate me with Briggs Freeman. And then also I'm trying to send out the campaigns at least once a month, the campaigns that our marketing department puts into ReChat. So that's really a dumb, basic, easy marketing plan, but it's like at least something that I feel like will help me. And I will tell you, I was a little bit discouraged because I felt like I'd like been doing this and nothing was happening. And then a week ago, I got a message that was like, hey, can you help me? Do you know anyone in Tyler? And I was like, so excited, because I was like, this stuff does work. And it was not like a huge amount of effort. It's just doing it. So for me, my like baby steps marketing plan was like social media post every week and sending out the campaigns, right? And just being a little bit more intentional. And it does make a difference. And again, I think there's value in me just having that as a stated goal. I think energy goes towards that and make it happen. But there's the class, like I said, it's called Build a Marketing Plan on Any Budget. So take that class and finish this core curriculum. And then you can meet up with Sherry or Catherine. You guys would both be meeting with Sherry because you're in Fort Worth. Say like, what are the steps that I should be doing in my marketing? And like I said, mine was like very basic and easy, but anything consistently is better than doing nothing or trying to do something like super complicated. Just start with like little things, right? And then you can build on it. Like once I get this email stuff down, then I can like take it to the next level and do something else. But Catherine and Sherry will be super helpful for you. Any questions there? Are any of you guys meeting with Sherry already? Caroline is.
Well, funny enough, I have a meeting with her at 2:30 today, actually.
Perfect.
So
okay, good. Yeah,
She's great.
Yeah. Catherine's great too. You can tell her that her ears were burning, because I was encouraging you guys to just get something going, right? And then, so the next step is, create a schedule for executing. So this is one of the tricky things when you get into real estate is that, to Caroline's point, like your schedule is kind of all over the place and it's a little bit like whack-a-mole. And so what Ninja will teach us, and have either of you guys been to Ninja yet? No. Okay. Well, so we're doing an installation in October in Houston, and I would highly, highly recommend that you go. A, because Ninja itself is so valuable, and B, because it will be a great networking opportunity, because it's going to be Houston agents, Austin agents, San Antonio agents, and then we're also going to open it up to other Sotheby's agents from other markets, and people love Texas. So it'll be like a mini networking event, but also you're learning Ninja, which is awesome. But Ninja will teach us to work on our business in the morning and in our business in the afternoon. And that means like get up in the morning, have your routine, get your things done that you need to get done for the day, so that as things come up later on, you can go and address them or show houses or anything like that.
Is there
Have
any-
you guys found that to be a challenge?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, sorry, this is not answering that question. It's back
That's
to the
okay.
ninja training. I have been trying to lean heavily into like the global network. And so I've connected with a number of people in different states. And it's been like common advice from those people in other states to go to a ninja installation like outside of my market.
Mhm.
And so like I know Houston isn't my market, but I was on the phone with an agent at Daniel Gale this weekend, and she was like, you should go somewhere like totally different and be the only one there. So
Yeah.
do you, I mean, not to like
No, I
I
think
was
it's great.
excited to hear that the Houston one was happening, and I was planning on that, and I told her that, and she's like, if you can get to one in a different market sooner, that was her recommendation.
Yeah, so yes, if it's in, I think it's anywhere you go, it's gonna be a networking opportunity, right? Because I think our Texas one is gonna fill up with people from like multiple different markets. And there might be like 5 to 10 people from Briggs Freeman there, but you know,
Okay.
how many of those will be from Fort Worth? And I'm not saying you have to come to the Texas one. If you have it in your budget and your time to like go to California and do one, or go to, you know,
There's one
any
in
other,
Naples in August
yeah,
that I
I
was
mean, if
looking
that's, do it, because it's a right, you can go on a vacation, that's a write-off.
at.
And, I think it's really smart, like,
Okay.
to
And
do that.
I figured if I could get there sooner, like because everybody refers to it. And I've read half the book.
Yeah.
But I am excited to get it done. And so I just wanted to hear your opinion if I should wait.
No, I think that's fantastic. Like, if you can go sooner somewhere else, do it. We wanted to do the Texas one, to make it like as easy as possible for people. Because I think everyone at Briggs Freeman should go through it. We built so many of our systems and processes around it. If you heard Thomas last week, like he's a master ninja, right? I just think it gives you like a really good foundation for the way to do business. So yes, I think that's fantastic. So this is something you're going to hear me talk about this over and over. So just a heads up. But this is, I think, a great way to think about your time, when we're in real estate, because there's always going to be things to do and things that come up, and you have to think of them as urgent or not urgent, and important or not important, right? And urgent means obviously it needs to happen now. Not urgent means there's no expiration date on it, right? No one's going to be like, hey, you didn't do this by this date. And then important means it's something that you need to do. And not important means it's not something that you need to do. That doesn't mean it doesn't necessarily need to get done. But so if you look up here, if we have urgent and important, these are things that you need to do that have a deadline, right? You have out of town buyers and they want you Gage to go and show them. They don't want you to like be pawned off on someone else. Like that's, if they're like, we're coming in town this weekend, guess what? That's urgent and important. And whatever you had scheduled this weekend is getting pushed off the schedule because they need assistance, right? That's urgent and important. If you have to write an offer and there's the deadline because it's multiple offers, like that's urgent and important. And maybe you were planning to go to yoga this afternoon, but guess what? Now you're writing an offer, right? So unfortunately, those are things that, you know, they need to be addressed. There's also things that are urgent and not important, right? There are some emails like you have to make dinner every night, right? Like that's urgent. It's got a date, like dinner is dinner time, but you could delegate that out to someone else, or you could go like pick up things. So there's things you can delegate out. If it's urgent but not important, meaning you don't have to do it, then you can delegate that out, right? Then there's things that are important but not urgent. And as an agent, like this is your most important quadrant, because these are all of the things that are business building activities for the most part, right? Like all of your ninja habits, writing notes, making phone calls, sending your weekly client updates, like doing your networking, exercising, like these are things that are really important that you do need to do, but they're not, there's no deadline to them, right? Like, so you have to put them on your calendar so that they happen, right? You have to schedule them. And that's the trick to urgent, not important. And that's why we say you need to have some structure to your day so that things go on the calendar and you try to work around them, right? And then, for example, like if you have yoga scheduled, for this afternoon, and then you have to write an offer, but it's in your calendar, you're gonna move it somewhere else, right? And that's so that it still happens, because that is something that's important, but it doesn't have to happen right now if you have something that does have to happen right now. And then of course, there's stuff that's neither important nor urgent, and that's just don't do it, right? Delete it. That's kind of the way. It's just a good way when something comes up to think about this task, right? Like if you had something, if you were going to say you're gonna take the day to go and like organize yourself and do some business planning, right? And you're like, for the first 2 hours tomorrow morning, I'm going to go and like really lay out a plan for myself. And then you have a client, you get a property under contract today, and the inspector is like, well, I can do it tomorrow morning, or I can do it Friday morning. Then you can go, you can say to the client, like, it's okay to have boundaries, right? And say to the client, the inspector is available here and here. If you want to meet tomorrow, then I'm not going to be able to meet you there, but I can still like go over the report and talk it through with you. If you want to do it Friday, like I can meet you there. And then you're giving them a choice, right? But that's because you had something scheduled, you have to kind of protect it. If that makes sense. Any questions there? It's just a good way when something comes up to be like, is this urgent and is this important, right? That's the one takeaway. And then the other takeaway is making sure that your important stuff gets scheduled. So tips for owning your time, plan your personal time first, work without distraction, like classify your items. And we'll talk a little bit about that. Create a calendar, and then you have to check yourself on a kind of a weekly and a daily basis, and then keep your commitments to yourself. So, these are things, let's say that you start every morning with exercise and gratitude, that's Ninja. And then these are things you can put on your calendar that are going to happen. So you're going to try to plan around, right? We have Tuesday and Friday trainings. There's a Monday morning meeting in Fort Worth. Your Tuesday meeting is here. And then touring kind of happens right after. So you might have those Tuesday mornings are kind of blocked out. So that's your first step. And then also scheduling your personal time, right? Calendar the things that are important to you, and then plan around them, right? And then, you're adding other things. So say you have kids and you have to drop them off and you pick up these days and they have carpool these days. So you're adding in like more things, and then you're going to start like scheduling your time in the office, right? And you say, I take Wednesdays off for like doctor's appointments, whatever I want to do. So it's just a way to like kind of schedule your time a little bit. And then like when you're, the spread time is the time in the office, then you can say, okay, well, these are the tasks that I need to do. Like every Sunday I'm gonna have an open house. So Monday afternoons, I'm doing my open house follow-ups, and I'm scheduling my social media posts for the week. And then an immersive task is any like big task that you need to spend time on. If you want to work on your listing presentation, if you want to do the business planning exercise, if you want to do the hot and warm list, right? You would schedule that because that's urgent, that's important, but not urgent. So that's why I'm saying you build these things in. And then process tasks are just the little things you can do to get rid of. But basically, just give yourself some structure since we're in it, and then try to stick to it as much as you can. Obviously, like I said, if you have a client that calls and says, I'm coming in town and I want to go see houses all day Thursday, like these things are going to have to move because that's urgent and important. But you will find that most things are not urgent and important, right? They might feel like they are, but they're not. So just kind of important to look at. Is this helpful? Sometimes agents are like super into this, and sometimes they're like, this is not. Depends on like how your brain works, I think. But just to kind of see like blocking your time out, I think having a calendar is important. And then figure out how you're going to keep track of your tasks. Like I use Outlook to do, because you guys have received multiple calendar invites from me. I'm obviously like obsessed with Outlook and calendar invites, and To Do is the Outlook's like task feature. There's another app called Things that our agents have really liked in the past. Some people use Post-it, some people use a spiral notebook, some people use the Ninja Planner. I used to use iPhone. Like there's a million ways to do, but when so many things are going on, you just have to figure out how am I going to keep track of everything that I need to do. And that's totally up to you. And then, you have time to do other things. Obviously, you're not going to like block out writing an offer, but just so that you can see like, what are my time windows to like offer to people? Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so then the last one is just to execute the plan consistently. And again, this goes back to this, right? Is like scheduling the things that are important but not urgent, like anything that we talk about here today, right? Like setting your goals and making a plan. It's really easy to like leave this class and then just go about and like keep playing whack-a-mole, but you'll be much better off if you're more intentional, right? So set the time aside to like be intentional. And I'm always happy to sit down with you guys and come up with a plan or go over your goals, or like Caroline, like you were saying, help make your goals a little bit more quantifiable so you can really measure them. Like I'm happy to work through any of this stuff with you. We're going to do guaranteed goals again. We're about wrapping up this first quarter session. We're going to start it again in the middle of April. So that's another great way to kind of look at your goals on a quarterly basis and commit to doing them. But then, just have a plan and then execute it consistently. So do you guys have any questions about this? Is this helpful? Like, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Like, what else would be helpful to hear here?
It's really helpful in my opinion. Sorry, Gage, I see you just got off mute.
I
But-
feel like-
No, go ahead. Cause I want the feedback cause I don't want to waste your time ever. Obviously we're talking about time. It's all we're talking about, and like how it's precious and how we need to be efficient with it. So if there's things that would help you guys, please share, or that would make this better, or what would help?
Really, I'd just say, the hardest thing for me is that I'm 21 years old and I don't know a lot of people who are just able to afford houses.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, a lot of my sphere, of course, give me 5 years from now. I have a bunch of friends in college. Give me 5 years from now, and I'll be hopefully living a dream with that. But, I'm sitting here like, where do I find this older audience that?
Yeah. No, I think you're really smart to kind of acknowledge that. And I think you bring up a really, really good point that I should probably build into this class somewhere. But when you're new as an agent, I have agents one of my agents did like 7 million her first year, and her number one source of clients was other agents. And what I mean by that is like, they need help, right? If you show up to the office consistently and you're professional and you're available to help people when they are like, hey, I need help with this, that will kind of like get you more business. Is supporting. There's lots of agents in our office who are really busy and need help sometimes. So if you can show up consistently and be one of their go-tos, it's a great way to build your business, especially like you say, when you're so young and your peers aren't necessarily buying houses yet. That's a great way, is to just support the other agents. But it means you have to kind of like show up to the office and like be available. And, it's a good question for you as you're so young. And I can chew on this a little bit of who have we had that's in your position that's been really successful. And I mean, even your peers still need housing, even if it starts as leasing. One of our super top producers, the first 2 years, she did mostly leases, which is not like sexy or fun, but it was lucrative. And then she also became their like go-to person, right? And she kept in touch with them. So that's the other thing you can do, is figure out what is the living situation of your peers, and how can you like speak to that and help with that. If they're all in apartments, if they're all in lease houses, like what does that look like,
Okay.
And I'll keep thinking, because that is a tricky place to be, but I think supporting other agents is a really, really helpful place to start. Just the more you're around the office and getting to know people, like they'll think of you when they need help.
Of course.
Yeah. And then they'll give you more if you do a good job, right? That's the trick. Caroline, what were you going to say?
Oh, well, I was just going to say it's really helpful. If we're talking about pain points, Gage, I'm a lot older than you are, but I'm still like relatively young. So that has been kind of something for me too, is like, how can I find like the confidence to be a resource for people who might be older than I am. And so that's been a struggle. And then another struggle that working under Mike, like he's developed a name for himself, which I can like attach myself to, which is great. But I also want to like be known as Caroline too, like a member of the Garza group. But right now I feel like I'm, my biggest advantage at this point is like, I can say I'm a member of the Garza group. And like, how do I focus my efforts on like creating the name for myself that I want to be known for? And that doesn't have to be like the same thing that Mike is known for. Like, and actually, if I can be on his team and known for something different, then we could reach a wider audience. And so I have a design background, which is kind of what I'm trying to figure out how to lean into. And I'm actually under contract on a home in Monticello that like I've talked to, a guy who can do some construction work that'll convert an unlivable space into livable space for them. So that's been like wonderful. And I've really enjoyed that. But just knowing how many people, especially in DFW, it's kind of a design center. Like, how do you kind of stand out from the crowd? So, your age is one thing, and then like your niche is another. And how do you, and a lot of older people are the ones with money to spend on renovations and design. So like, I think my biggest issue right now is just focus in general. So how can I focus my time well, and how can I focus my like efforts to be known for what I want to be known for?
Yeah. Caroline, there's a there's a woman in our Lakewood office named Brooke Votter, and you should follow her because I think she was in alcohol sales actually originally, but she is a designer as well. And so she does a really good job of kind of combining her real estate and her design.
Okay.
And maybe even if you come over here one day and like pick her brain, or just, just start following her and like see how she's doing it a little bit. It's an interesting approach. But I think one of the things for both of you guys, if you're like, feel like you're young, or you don't necessarily, you feel a little bit young compared to like people you think have the funds, like you may be, but you're also like affiliated with such a strong brand and such a strong company and such strong agents that you should never feel like you don't have the experience that that you need to like win any deal. I mean, Gage, you just did a huge deal, and you like, you had all the resources you need to like do it well. So this was kind of, the thought, like your success, it obviously depends on you, right? You have to show up every day and do the hard work and like figure it out and plug along. But at the same time, like we can't force you to do the hot and warm list and do these things that we know will help. But you're not alone. You have to decide you want to do that, but you're not alone in building your business, right? Like there's so many, like the beauty of Briggs Freeman, besides like the brand, is like the collaboration that we have here. And there's people that want to help you, and everyone wants you to succeed, from like your peers at the office to your manager, to me, to like your title contact, to Ashton, right? Like everyone around you like really wants you to succeed, because we all want to be successful together. So take advantage. Like at the end of the day, like it's on you, but you're also not alone, I guess, is the message. I heard this analogy once where it's like, people pray to like for the cake, and the universe gives them like the batter, the oil, the icing, the pan, the oven, like the mitts, like everything that they need to build the cake. But when they walk into the kitchen and they don't see a cake, they get frustrated and they leave. And I think that real estate, and especially here at Briggs Freeman, like we have all the ingredients, and you guys are like young, smart, successful, like vibrant people. Like you have all the ingredients to build the cake. So if it's not coming together to you, like let's work together to figure out how to do it. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's the work, right? But we have the pieces here to make you successful. So let us help you, but once you kind of are committed to the success. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize
What?
I didn't realize I was unmuted. I was going to unmute myself so I could
Oh,
say.
no worries. All good. Anyway, again, like I want this time to be like productive and helpful for you guys, or at least give you like one good idea. I'll send a follow-up email with like the recording and the TED Talk and then hot and warm list and the ninja, all of the things that we kind of talked about, but just want to give you some ideas of like how to get going. Does this help?
Yes.
Okay.
It does.
And if not, like we can sit down and figure out one-on-one, like what would help you, right? I'm happy to do that. Your manager's happy to do that. So, I know Ashton's happy to help like brainstorm, how to help you too. So don't be shy. Gage, have you met Ashton?
Ashton, sorry, I know
He's the lender in our Fort Worth office.
I've met Ashton.
You met him?
Yes.
Okay. Because he wants to help you too. So, and he's if it's marketing or, flyers or promotion, hopefully he's a good brainstormer. He's a hard worker, that's for sure.
He's
So-
been so
Hello.
awesome. And like for every listing that we've had, he's been really helpful. And for my buyers, he's been really helpful in like meeting people's needs. Like he is like a never ending source of like ideas. And
Awesome.
one of them is bound
Okay.
to be right for whatever deal we're working on.
Good. Well, it's also just like he's part of the team, right? To like help support you and make you more successful. So, all right. Well, that's all I have. Friday, well, it won't take this long on Friday to go over like the financial stuff, but that's just to help give you some ideas of like how to keep your business organized the right way. And hopefully we have some more joiners. I know we kind of put this together at the last minute, but Tuesdays and Fridays at 9 on Zoom, we'll go through all these classes and hopefully give you guys like a crash course in the core things that you really need to know. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.